Welcome to Energy Talks, a regular podcast series with expert discussions on power system testing topics. My name is Scott Williams from the podcast team at OMICRON, and I will be your host. In this episode, we are going to talk about OMICRON Academy and the training courses it offers on power system testing topics. The OMICRON Academy is an important pillar of knowledge sharing at OMICRON, and for more than 25 years, it has offered a wide variety of theoretical and practical training courses for energy suppliers, industrial companies, service providers, and electrical equipment manufacturers. Of course, due to current travel restrictions, it is not that easy to attend in-person training around the world as before. So with me is Oliver Janke, training manager at OMICRON Academy. He will tell us about how the Academy is making training courses just as accessible and interactive online. Hello, Oliver. Welcome to Energy Talks.
Hello, Scott. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's great having you. Thank you very much for joining us. Oliver, you're located in Erlangen, Germany. Is that correct?
Yes, right. In Erlangen, OMICRON has a base of OMICRON Academy, and we have quite many trainers here, administration team, training rooms, and training equipment.
Very good. So could you briefly outline the task of OMICRON Academy and what are your responsibilities?
Yes, OMICRON Academy is offering training courses for our customers. As OMICRON is developing innovative and advanced products, we think it's important to explain those products to our users, especially as they are working in a field where testing is a really critical job with enormous consequences, and we want to make our customers confident to do the right tests, to interpret the results correctly, and to also have the right quality of those tests and a good speed of those tests. So if you know better to use the product, you're just faster, of course. Mm-hmm. And we are offering product training courses on certain test equipment which we offer, but also background knowledge or application knowledge about the physics behind the measurement which we are doing with our equipment.
Yes. Okay.
And we are offering scheduled and customized training courses. So scheduled means anybody can register to that training course via our webpage. And customized training courses are courses which are requested by our customers on a certain topic at a certain date for a team of participants from a company or something special. And we have 22 training centers worldwide. And as regional training manager, I am responsible for the training offer in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So this is my task.
All right. So what can one expect when participating in an OMICRON Academy training course?
Of course, you want to learn how to use the product efficiently. But another thing is also safety. Imagine a group leader purchases test equipment. So as a group leader, you want to ensure that all your team members are performing the test safely and don't hurt themselves while doing the tests. So safety is, of course, an important part in our training courses. Mm-hmm. And another things are questions or discussions. So our trainer is an expert in that field, also with practical experience. And you can just ask any question to the trainer, but also to the other participants in a training course. You can also learn from their experience, of course. I think that is also very important. And another thing are the practical parts. So we have demo equipment, we have relays, we have a digital substation according to IEC 61850, and we also have primary assets. And you can have a practical hands-on session with our test set on the specific asset. So you connect, you perform the test, you interpret the results, and you can really see if you understood what you learned before, what the trainer explained before. You can see if that is working correctly, and you can do your own mistakes and learn from those. This is also an important part of a training course.
Okay. You mentioned that a lot of the training has to do with use of OMICRON products, but do you necessarily have to be an OMICRON customer to attend?
No, you don't need to. It can be very interesting to attend a training course before purchasing our equipment, because you see how you use the equipment. You really get to know the equipment very well, and you see what are the pros of the equipment and how to perform the specific tests. Most of our training courses are product courses, so it's of course recommended to participate there if you have such a product, but there are also exceptions like basics of protective relaying or partial discharge, fundamentals. Those can also be interested for anybody in the industry, just to get an idea about the topic and to understand the background. And we also see a clear demand from the industry for well-educated engineers and technicians that should maintain the grid. And you don't learn such things at the university or at school. So we try to train them in our training courses to give them the background knowledge needed to work in a utility, for example.
Okay. Well, there have been a number of changes. Of course, 2020 was a big year of change, especially in the way we collaborate and share information. How did OMICRON Academy respond to these new challenges?
Yes, this was an exciting year. And the first step was we had, unfortunately, to cancel all our training courses. So classroom training courses were not possible anymore. And we quickly decided, it was very clear to everybody, we want to have a good offer for webinars. We want to have a big offer of different topics where the customer can get some information about our products, about our tools, but also background knowledge in small bits. A typical webinar is 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours. And it was very clear to us that we want this offer. If we look into the history, we have been doing webinars for quite a long time, but just a very little bit, just a handful of webinars over a year. This was not an important pillar of OMICRON Academy. But last year, between April and July, I have some numbers here, we had 344 sessions.
Wow.
So we offered a lot of webinars in different languages, in different time zones, with different content. That is 22 sessions per week, and we had more than 12,000 participants only in those few months.
Oh, wow.
And now we also have the recordings of those webinars on our webpage available, so you can register there and watch the webinar whenever you like, worldwide.
Okay. Super. So will you be relying more on webinars in the future? And where do you see advantages and disadvantages of that?
Yes, webinars are here to stay. So we are going to offer that also in the future. Absolutely. But we even want to go further. I said a webinar for OMICRON is 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours. But this is not replacing a training course. A typical training course could have been 3 days, classroom training with practical part. And watching a webinar for an hour is not the same thing. That is very clear. But we want to also conduct online training courses where you learn the same things like in a classroom training course. And that is not easy to do, but with the right tools, you can manage that. If you do it the right way, it's possible. We are rethinking our schedule. For example, a 3 days online training course doesn't need to take 3 days. You can also have less hours a day, but more days. So you're very flexible. Suddenly you can try out many new possibilities and change the concept of the course. You're not bound to copy the classroom training course online now. That is maybe not the right way. And these online courses have a lot of advantages, of course. So there's no infection risk. You have no travel costs, and you have no time for the traveling. That is always expensive for the participants.
Sure.
You do not need to ship the equipment. That was also sometimes complicated. You are much more flexible when it comes to the content. For example, participating in a 1-day training course is maybe not reasonable if you have to travel a long distance.
Sure.
But participating in an online training course for 1 day is perfectly fine. And a classroom training course also has advantages. That is clear. So, for example, we can do a regular conventional course at our customer with the asset of our customer, with the transformer of our customer. That is interesting. And it's also better for the participants to really be out of their daily business so they can concentrate and focus on the training course, which is maybe not doable in home office with the whole family around you. And also discussing is a bit difficult in online training courses, or can be difficult in online training courses. If you have a bigger group, maybe not everybody really wants to ask the questions they have. And then you are a bit less efficient here. So classroom training courses, conventional courses also have clear advantages, of course.
Okay. So focusing on online training, which hurdles do you see for that, and how do you overcome them?
Yes, there are some hurdles. I already mentioned a few. For example, you do not want to listen to an 8-hour webinar. If we would just extend our webinar offer and you have a full day of listening, this is very monotonic and nobody wants to do that. Everybody would fall asleep after 2 hours. That is absolutely sure. So we want to make it more active. We want the participants really to be active in the course and ask their questions and discuss with the others. And one part is customers' preparation. So you need a good headset to understand everything, with a good microphone so we can understand the questions you have. Maybe having a webcam is a good idea, because it's you can focus better if you see the other participants, maybe with a question mark in their face. That is interesting to see how others react and what the trainer says. It's good to see the others and to see, okay, I'm not alone here. We are a group of people going through this content now. Then you should reserve the time and have a quiet place where you can concentrate, if that is possible. And of course, the internet connection is obviously also maybe a problem. If you have a bad internet connection, what can you do? Then maybe it's not doable to perform an online training course. But that's getting better every day, I think. And we are using a number of different tools for activating the participants and to overcome such hurdles. Like, we are using polls. That means our customers answer questions and everybody can see live how others answered the question. So, for example, what do you think about this testing method? And then everybody can bring in his or her opinion about the thing. Or we have interactive whiteboards. So we are offering group works where the participants work in smaller groups and can discuss how to do a certain job and rearrange cards on an interactive online whiteboard. And we ask questions and they have to answer them like in a quiz. Or we give them tasks where the participants have to work alone, answer questions, do a little calculation or something. And we can even give them homework. So they prepare for the next day, or they have to prepare something to bring it into the course where they work alone. And such active elements are very important, because it's one thing to understand what the trainer says, but it's a different thing to do that on your own. And then you see, oh, there is another question which I'm not clear about. I have to ask that. And another big thing which we are offering is a remote lab. So we call that remote lab technology. That means our participants can connect to our laboratory rooms in our training centers. So they have remote access to the equipment in our training centers and can perform practical parts there.
Okay. So this means that course participants can perform actual tests during such online courses?
Yes, exactly. So, for example, for secondary testing, we can imagine a laboratory with protection relays, or for IEC 61850, we have protection relays, IEDs, and we have network switches and all the stuff you find in a digital substation. And there are laptops, and the customers, the participants, can connect to those laptops in the laboratory. So at first, as a participant, you learn from the trainer how to perform a certain task, and then you have the chance to connect to this laptop, and you will see the substation and the equipment with the webcam of this laptop. So that means you are in that laboratory, maybe in Erlangen or in any other training center worldwide. And you can perform all the tests you would normally do, like sitting in front of that laptop. the test set is connected, maybe the assets, the relays are connected. So you are in that laboratory and you can prepare your test, run the test, analyze the results, and of course, there's a trainer available, so you can ask questions if something goes wrong. You get help from the trainer, and you can see if you are able to conduct the test. And for primary equipment, we are going to have a big indoor location in our OMICRON customer center in Klaus. There we are going to have 760 square meters
Wow.
of space for primary equipment like medium voltage switchgear, instrument transformers, conventional and non-conventional ones. A transformer will be indoors. A stator from a generator will be indoors. So we have the big primary equipments available, and we are equipping these locations also with telepresence equipment like webcams, microphones. We improve the acoustics. We have a good light in there. So if you are connecting there, you can see everything and see the transformer, see the clamps, how they are connected. And it's like you are really there. And this is also doable for our high voltage laboratory. For example, in Berlin, we are conducting training courses where you connect to the high voltage laboratory in Berlin. And you might already see this can be better than in a classroom training because you don't have a high voltage laboratory everywhere, And
Sure.
the outside, if it's raining, it's not big fun to have the training course outside. For the online course, you're always inside. You have always the best conditions.
Okay, so just so I understand this correctly, even on the online course or in participating in an online course, the actual test setup will be connected to an asset, for example, a transformer?
Exactly. That is how it's done. Of course, the participant in the course cannot connect to the transformer because you need to physically touch the clamps. So this has to be done by the trainer. But you can tell the trainer, please connect the clamps here and there, and you can see how it's done. You can discuss if it's done correctly, what is important when you do that. You can execute the test live, and you can see the result and discuss and analyze the result. And you still have the trainer next to you or your colleague in a small group and discuss whether everything is good or how to react now and what to do now. And another way to make that also more practical or to implement these things is that the participants could prepare the test files beforehand or find mistakes in existing test files, or they can do homework. So we really have to activate the participants in such courses.
Okay, so participants are given homework assignments either before or between course sessions. That's relatively new, isn't it?
Yes, normally we don't do that in classroom trainings, but that's a good way to activate the participant, especially if it's a good idea to do that beforehand. We call that a flipped classroom. That means you do the homework first, you read some documents, you watch some videos, so you learn the background.
Yes.
And you're well prepared when you come into the laboratory with a remote access. You're well prepared, you have questions with you, which came up when you did the homework, and you can perform the test. So you use the time with the trainer in the laboratory most efficient. And we are, for example, doing that for a CMC online course. So we have prepared videos, and here we are doing exactly that. The participants watch the video, then they prepare an OCC file, a test file, which they want to run later. Then this file is checked by the trainer via email, whether it's correct or completely wrong. Then you have to redo it. And then you go into the training room with your own test file, with the trainer also connected, and you can see if it's working correctly. And if some questions or problem arise, you have the trainer with you answering all the questions. We are at the moment in a trial phase. We're trying that out. You see, when you're doing online training courses, you have a lot of new possibilities, a lot of new ways how to do training courses. And we are in a form of trial, trying out different things and seeing which is working best in which situation, for which task and for which topic.
Okay. Well, even with online courses, it sounds like you've been doing a lot to make them more interactive, rather than just having it a one-way stream of information. So, but needless to say, classical training courses are undoubtedly have a different quality due to the direct personal contact they offer. Given these types of courses, will they still remain in your offer, and will there be any changes to them in the future?
Yes, of course, they stay in our offer. So we are going to offer scheduled classroom training courses in the future, for sure. We are changing also things there. For example, we invested a lot in our training center equipment. We built up a number of digital substations in different training centers worldwide according to IEC 61850. So you can try out all our IEC 61850 test devices and tools there in real life, let's say it like that. And this digital substation is even portable, so we can also send this to our customer's location if the course should take place there. So this is no problem at all. And generally, we see a trend that we are splitting up our training courses. At the moment, we are doing that, for example, for the CMC standard training. We split them up into a basic and an advanced course, because we see a one-fits-all course is not always ideal. You might have beginners. The advanced topics are too complicated for them, and they have to learn so many new things in such a training course. You don't want to make it too complicated for them, but you also have experienced participants which already use our equipment since 10 or even longer, since 10 years or even longer. And you want to also teach them new ideas and new things where they can get better. So splitting up into a basic and advanced course is something we are currently doing. This is currently our plan for the classroom training courses.
So, whether online or in-person training, Oliver, what would you recommend to participants to ensure a successful learning experience?
I would recommend everybody to be curious, to learn something new, to try out new ways of testing, new methods, to think outside the box, and to see how new technology can be used to change the processes in the utilities, for example. And it's very important to ask questions and to have an opinion which can be discussed with others, then it can get an interesting training. So if you are active, you can really have fun during such a training course. It can really be a nice time with a group in such a training course. Mm-hmm. And of course, in an online course, this can be a bit difficult, but also in an online course, you have the chance to activate your microphone and to ask the question. And if you don't want to do that in the bigger group, you can still do that in a smaller group while you do the practical part in small groups or just with a trainer. You can at least ask your questions there. So there's also a chance in the online courses. And if you are active, if you participate actively, it's always best.
Sure, I agree. So, Oliver, for those interested in OMICRON Academy courses, where can they get more information?
Of course, on our webpage, in the navigation, you can look for training, and there you find our training schedule, and you find our email address and contact possibilities if you want to ask questions about which training course is best for me, or if you want to request an offer for a customized training course, you can also do that via the webpage.
Okay. Well, thank you. Oliver, thank you very much for being with us for this episode and also for sharing with us the latest news about OMICRON Academy.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Great. Take good care. Thanks, Oliver. And a big thank you to our audience for listening to this episode of Energy Talks. We welcome your questions and feedback. Simply send us an email to podcast@omicronenergy.com. OMICRON Academy provides you with basic through advanced training courses and webinars on a wide variety of power system testing topics. Visit our website for more information at omicronenergy.com. Be sure to look under training for all the details about course offerings. Please join us to listen to the next episode of Energy Talks. Goodbye for now, everyone.